What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's May 2nd as I record this. It's Thursday evening for me, about 9 o'clock Central Time. We're going to do the 2024 Dynasty Rookie Rankings. We're going to look at thefantasyfellowship.com, and I have everything posted there for you guys. I do share my top 12 for free for Superflex and 1QB. If you guys want the rest of them, you're going to have to stick around for the video. I'll share those the second and third rounds and some fourth rounders for you guys. So just hang tight. We're going to hop into a screen share. And hey, I just want to share with you guys, I'm super busy right now. We just closed on a home last Friday, and we're in the process of moving. And I think this is like the last big weekend push for me to get all my stuff moved over to this house. We got Wi-Fi coming on Saturday. And so everything is kind of in flux right now, and it's just the timing of it sucks because I want to put out Dynasty content. But this should do for a little bit. And hey, if you guys have questions on rankings and you guys need help on anything, please don't hesitate, to reach out here on the YouTube comments or hit me up on Twitter, X. You guys can always DM me there. And if you guys do sign up to the members content, you guys will get access to a Discord too. So there is a link in the description that gets you guys to the page we're looking at now. It's $10 a month if you guys want to get into the access. Otherwise, I'm trying a $100 per year thing. But if it's not for everybody, it's not for everybody. But let's get right into it. This is the top 12 for me in Superflex Dynasty. Caleb Williams is the 101. And I mean, it's Superflex leagues, it's quarterbacks boosted to the max here. I think you could make a case for Marvin Harrison Jr. I do have both these guys in the same number one tier, and I'm actually going to be stressed with this decision myself in a league. I won a championship. I have a very good team. My quarterbacks are Mahomes, Dak Prescott, and Baker Mayfield, and now I'm sitting here with the 101. And I don't know what to do. Do I take Caleb Williams and just collect the super value that he presents at the 101, or do I take Marvin Harrison Jr.? I think in my case, it does make sense to take Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think I'm going to have to continue to shop this 101 and see if I can get a value. If I were to take Marvin Harrison, I have to see if I can get a value for it, maybe move down. But we'll see. Either way, Caleb Williams is the 101 in Superflex leagues. The Bears have done such a nice job surrounding him with talent, trading for Keenan Allen. They have DJ Moore. They got Rome Odunze. They still have Cole Kmet. They brought in Gerald Everett. That's a really nice group of five receivers and tight ends to throw the ball to. And then not only that, they have Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, and they brought in a pass catching back, DeAndre Swift. There's weapons galore on the Chicago Bears offense. And, rookies usually struggle, but I think a rookie this talented with that much talent on offense, I think it's going to be above average what we see for rookies. So take Caleb Williams. He's an instant fringe QB1, I think, right away with his rushing ability. Number 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, if you want to take him 101, I mean, if your quarterbacks are CJ Stroud and, Trevor Lawrence and another guy, something like that. If you feel really confident in your 2 QBs, or if you got a third good one, I get it. Try and shop that pick. But otherwise, Marvin Harrison Jr., if not first, he should be the second overall pick. We love the fit with the Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, and he's probably stepping into a massive 25% plus target share right away. It's going to be him and Trey McBride for Kyler Murray. We're very excited about it, and I think the 4 or 5 year outlook for Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I'm already seeing people rank him as a top 5 dynasty receiver. So take Marvin Harrison Jr. with confidence. You want a top 2 pick this year. Pick number 3 is where you get a little bit of the questions. Now, I have my tier 2 a little bit bigger than my tier 1. Jaden Daniels at 3, Malik Neighbors at 4, Drake May and JJ McCarthy at 6, and then Rome Odunze, the last guy in my second tier here. So 5 guys to choose from. I think if you do have the third pick, you're really only looking at Malik Neighbors or Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is probably the most fantasy relevant quarterback of this rookie class right away. So he's more of a I kind of view Daniels on more of like a 2 to 3 year outlook, where he's probably the best fantasy quarterback for that stretch. Caleb Williams, probably the best QB from years 2, 3, and 4. So Daniels is plug and play. I think he could be a QB1 right away this year. I like what the Commanders did in the draft. They got him some weapons. They got him, you already have Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson there. They did draft Luke McCaffrey. They added Ben Sinnott. They got Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson. A lot of nice pieces there. It's not as good as what the Bears did, but I think it's a quality surrounding cast for Jaden Daniels. So he should be the QB or the third overall pick, I think. But hey, again, if you have, if you have Jordan Love and CJ Stroud and say Dak Prescott on your team, then take Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is stepping into easily the huge target share for the Giants. Daniel Jones can play pinball with Malik Neighbors. He might not be hitting him deep very often, but he can hit him in all the short area slot stuff that Malik Neighbors excels at. So I love Malik Neighbors. He's probably going to be a top 5 dynasty receiver as soon as they get that quarterback situation resolved. And maybe it's next year in the draft. We'll see. But I like Malik Neighbors quite a bit. I think he's an 80 to 90 catch guy right away as a rookie. And then after that, that's where you get some questions, whether it's Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Romo Dunze. I still think Drake May is a slight notch above JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy still has a little bit more to prove, but he's getting a really nice offense. You're putting him with Justin Jefferson, you're putting him with Jordan Addison, and eventually TJ Hawkinson. That's a really nice core for JJ McCarthy. But he's got some, I think he's going to have some growing pains. Drake May as well. And his offense isn't as good, but I think long term, if you wanted to tell me that JJ McCarthy is the better guy long term, I can see that. For me, I'm still going to rate Drake May just a slight tick ahead, but it's at this point, it's kind of a preference call. I think you have Caleb, Daniels, and then you have this group of quarterbacks next between May and JJ McCarthy. I like both guys, though. And then Romo Dunze, the end of the tier 2 players, because one, dude's really, really good. Talent-wise, I think he's just as good as Malik and Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe just a tick below. But you put him on the Bears, you put him as the third receiver right away. His rookie year is going to be capped. He's probably, a top 50 receiver for fantasy football purposes this year, unless, Keenan Allen or DJ Moore get hurt. But we're talking year 2 is where we get that big boost. If they don't bring back Keenan Allen, then we're cooking. And hey, I mean, Caleb Williams, he doesn't owe DJ Moore or Keenan Allen anything. He loves Romo Dunze. They have the buddy thing going on here. So maybe Romo Dunze is a steal here at 7, and next year you're looking pretty good at a solid wide receiver too. So Dunze, end of the second tier. And then you have Xavier Worthy. This is tier 3. Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas, Brock Bowers, Bo Nix, and Ladd McConkey. There might be some more guys running into that tier 3. It cuts off here at 12. But starting with Worthy versus Thomas, I like both guys a lot. If you wanted to go Brian Thomas Jr. over Worthy, I think that's fine. For me, you're getting attached to Pat Mahomes. And Travis Kelce did sign a 2-year deal with the Chiefs. But we don't know, we could see signs of Kelce slowing down. I think the Rashee Rice thing really hurt his stock this offseason. He's going to be suspended maybe 3 or 4 games. That's going to give Worthy the inside track here to soak up targets and show what he can do right away. So he's going to be a guy that I think, week 1, if he comes out and he gets 6-7 catches and a touchdown or so, I think you're going to be feeling really good about Worthy and his speed and just, I think the training camp plays we're going to see in August, you're going to feel really good about it. So I like Worthy. I think he steps in and he's the number 2 target for Mahomes right away this year. I think he supplants Rashee Rice. Brian Thomas Jr., I think he is the most talented receiver in Jacksonville. I think he's starting in 2025. He's going to be the guy that leads the team in targets. I think Christian Kirk is still there for this year to lead the team, but Brian Thomas's outlook going forward is probably the number 1 receiver for Trevor Lawrence. So that looks really good to me. So that's kind of the difference. Do I want the number 1 receiver for Mahomes, number 1 receiver for Trevor Lawrence? Kind of that goes into mind. And we do need to see Worthy put on some weight. He's a $165. I'd like to see him play in the upper 170. So he's got some work to do there. But man, getting a guy like him is very exciting. You have Brock Bowers at 10, and man, he could have been pick 7 if he went to the right landing spot, but he's on the Raiders. I think Gardner Minshew is in for a nice little season here with his weapons, but Brock Bowers probably behind Devontae Adams in targets, probably around second or third target with Jacoby Myers. So probably looking at, maybe 90 to 100 targets right away here. And I want to see more 2 tight end sets. They already have Michael Mayer here, so not the best landing spot, but I think in a year or 2, it could look really nice for Brock Bowers. And hey, if they bring in a quarterback next year in the top 5 of the draft, you're going to be, wishing you had Brock Bowers again. So don't be afraid to take him. Bo Nix, quarterback here for the Broncos at 11. I like Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix, I like to use the term bumper bowling. He can do that. He's somewhere in the Derek Carr range of his outcomes, where he can be a competent starting quarterback. He can win some playoff games. And hey, if he gets a nice supporting cast around him in the next couple of years, he could be a really nice quarterback. He performed well everywhere he was in college. and I like what the Broncos are doing there. And they just need something to stick there on offense, so Sean Payton can kind of grow from there. And then Lad McConkey, the receiver for the Chargers. If you wanted to take Lad McConkey over Bo Nix and Brock Bowers, I think I'm fine with it. I have him just a little separated from Brian Thomas and Xavier Worthy, but hey, there's a chance that Lad McConkey is the number 1 wide receiver for Justin Herbert for the next 4 or 5 years. So that excites me quite a bit. I think you could take him earlier if you wanted to over Bowers or Bo Nix. Nothing really changes in one QB rankings that much. It's kind of the same names. QBs just get pushed down. So Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Odunze, Worthy, Thomas are my top 5. Brock Bowers coming in at 6. There's Lad McConkey. I threw Caleb Williams in there over Jonathan Brooks. He's my RB1. Jaden Daniels in here. And then Keon Coleman and Ricky Pearsall coming in at the end of tier 4. I think it's very rare to have a year where you're getting all these super talented quarterbacks. You're getting their potential wide receiver 1 in a year or two. And I think Keon Coleman could be that. I think this year it's probably Curtis Samuel, probably Dalton Kincaid, and Keon Coleman probably the 3rd, 4th target in this offense. But, projecting out, he could be a steal at his ADP, and his boom bust nature kind of fits in with Josh Allen's deep ball game. So I like that. And then, hey, Ricky Pearsall, he's really talented, and this move kind of signifies that, hey, Debo, Ayuk, we don't know if we can keep both of you guys. So there's a chance Ricky Pearsall steps into Brock Purdy's 2nd target in the next 1 to 2 years. And George Kittle getting up there in age, there's a chance that this offense could be built around, say, Pearsall and Ayuk, or Pearsall and Debo, and that excites me quite a bit. So those are my free rankings. If you guys come on farther down here, I just kind of show what all the quarterbacks that were drafted in their draft capital, so you guys can see all that for free. But if you're still with me here, let me know in the comments if you guys made it to the bonus round here, because now we're going to show you guys the 2nd round of Superflex rankings, and that to me is starting with Jonathan Brooks at 13. He's the RB1. I think you're looking at a guy here that is probably the starter with Bryce Young for the next 4 or 5 years. You're going to kind of eat it in year 1, at least in September, October, and maybe November. He's going to kind of, hopefully they go really slow with him. I don't want to see him week 1 getting 20 touches. I want to see him getting 10 to 12 and slowly ramp up from there and getting worked into the offense slowly. So he'll split with Chuba Hubbard at the beginning of the year, but hey, by November, December, he might be a really solid RB, a high-end RB2, I think, as soon as he's ready to get unleashed here. So I like Brooks. He's the clear RB1 in this class for me by a decent margin. Michael Penix Jr., if you are a rebuilding team, it makes sense to grab Michael Penix Jr. I think if you're a competitive team, you're better off taking Brooks, Keon Coleman, Ricky Pearsall. I'd rather get a stab at a player that can help me win in the next year or two, whereas Penix, he's more of a 2 to 4 year outlook. So if you're rebuilding, he makes sense. If not, I think you pivot and go with Coleman, Ricky Pearsall, and then there's kind of a tier break after those receivers for me. And notice now that Keon Coleman and Pearsall, these guys are probably not a future wide receiver 1 on their team. They're probably going to be a number 2 receiver, a role player that's got a really good, outlook, wide receiver 3 outlook at some point. But I don't think they're going to be, a top 10, top 15 wide receiver. They might have one of those seasons in them throughout their career, but I don't think they're guys that can, just light it up and be a top 5, top 10 receiver. Trey Benson coming in at number 17. I like Trey Benson a lot. He's going to be paired with James Conner for this year. Next year, 2025, is when you're probably looking for Trey Benson to be the guy. So his 2 to 4 year outlook looks like a high-end RB2. And who knows, man, if he comes in and he learns behind James Conner, that's a really strong back to learn from. James Conner's a veteran that can do everything: pass pro, catch the ball, run the ball really strong. I like it. So he's going to babysit Trey Benson for a year, and the key's over in 2025. And hey, this Cardinals offense, man, next year it could be really exciting with Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, and Trey Benson. That's a really good core for the Cardinals here. And then we have a little bit of a tier break here. We're in tier 5. I have a wide receiver run: Jermaine Burton, Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Legette. I think I might need to move Adonai Mitchell up a little bit, but I'm very excited about Jermaine Burton because there's going to be a T. Higgins-sized hole in this offense. Jermaine Burton was very productive on not a lot of opportunity at Alabama, but he capitalized on what little opportunity he had. And the Bengals taking him round 3, pick 16. That's good draft capital. And, I think he's going to operate out of the slot a little bit this year. He's going to be the team's number three wide receiver right away. They didn't really get a big tight end. So Burton has a chance to be the number 3 target for Joe Burrow this year. And maybe the number 2 target, because if they do trade T. Higgins midseason, or if they get rid of him in the offseason, Burton could be the number 2 target for Joe Burrow as soon as 2025. So I like that a lot. Roman Wilson for Pittsburgh. I think he's going to step in and be the number 2 target there. You have George Pickens, of course, but Wilson's going to step in and kind of do some Deontay Johnson-like things and kind of be the slot receiver target. I like him quite a bit. He can kind of do like a poor man's Tyler Lockett impression too for Russell Wilson, or if it is Justin Fields. I think Roman Wilson, man, he's a really good player. He just didn't get a lot of volume at Michigan. They just didn't need to throw the ball. Jalen Polk at 20. I think he's got a chance to be Drake May's number 1 wide receiver this year. You're talking Demario Douglas, an injured Kendrick Bourne coming back. I think Jalen Polk being drafted at the 5th pick of the 2nd round, man, that's a lot of draft capital for him. So that excites me. I think he could be the number 1 receiver for Drake May. Adonai Mitchell takes a little bit of a projection because I have him here at 21. He's going to be behind Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs probably on the depth chart. He might be able to out-target and out-produce Josh Downs right away, but that's going to be up for grabs. But I think as long as Pittman's there, that's going to be the number 1 receiver. And we just don't know if Anthony Richardson can support 2 fantasy wide receivers. So long-term, is it Mitchell and Pittman? Maybe. But either way, I think Mitchell probably profiles as like a George Pickens type player at the next level, where he's kind of this boom bust guy where he's going to get you, 3 for 84 and a touchdown one week, or, the next game he'll go 2 for 22 and kind of make you mad. But I like Mitchell a lot. He just needs to get consistent every play. And then Xavier Legette here at 2022 I think he was actually, he was the last pick of the 1st round. We're talking about a boom play guy here, a 5th-year senior breakout. I think he's exciting. He got the draft capital that we want to see, but he's going to be behind some guys for targets, specifically Deontay Johnson. You also have Adam Thielen there. So he's at best, he's Bryce Young's 3rd or 4th target this year. And maybe in 2025, he operates as that number 2 target. So kind of, again, on that George Pickens line where he's boom bust. He does have like a DK Metcalfness to his game. If you put ceiling outcome for Legette is probably somewhere in between. If you put Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf in a blender, you might get one insane Xavier Legette, season where he's like wide receiver 10, 11, 12, and he catches like, 10 touchdowns, something like that. So he's going to be boom bust, but I think he's got some fun upside at the next level here. And then I go to a run of running backs. In the 6th tier, you got Blake Corum, Marshawn Lloyd, and Jalen Wright. I think Corum, he's going to operate as number 2 behind Kieran Williams for this year, but we don't know what to think of Kieran. He's been kind of injured throughout his career with the Rams, and I think the similar play styles of Corum and Kieran Williams makes me very excited, because if anything happens to Kieran Williams, we're probably ranking Blake Corum as like a fringe RB1 that week. So if you want to take him at the end of the 2nd round and just hold on, see what happens if Kieran gets hurt, or maybe 2025, Corum, if he gets an opportunity to shine and he looks better, that could be the thing. So you're going to take Corum, let him sit on your bench, and if opportunity knocks, you might have something there. Same thing with Marshawn Lloyd, which I do think Marshawn Lloyd has a really nice potential outcome, though, because if the Packers don't bring back Josh Jacobs in 2025, then Marshawn Lloyd is the starting running back for Matt LaFleur's offense, which would be really exciting. So I like grabbing Marshawn Lloyd here. And then Jalen Wright, I think in 2025, you're looking at a duo of Devon Achane and Jalen Wright. We'll see if Raheem Mostert can stay healthy, but he's getting up there. He's on the wrong side of 30. So Corum, Lloyd, and Wright are all kind of 2025 and beyond stash plays. I do think Ben Sinnott is worth a tight end grab. He's probably going to be a popular target for Jaden Daniels right away, and hopefully he can learn a little bit behind Zach Ertz. Round, tier 7, we're in the 3rd round here. Huge receiver run, whether it's Corley, Franklin, Javon Baker, Devontae Walker, Jalen McMillan, and Luke McCaffrey. These guys all profile as, boom bust flex type receivers. Corley could be the number 2, number 3 target for Aaron Rodgers in that offense. We'll see if he can, earn targets from Rodgers right away as a rookie, but I think he probably projects as, a future wide receiver 3 for the long term here. On the Jets roster. Franklin intrigues me because there's an opportunity for him he's already got the chemistry with Nix. You're talking Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Jerry Judy's gone, so they brought in Josh Reynolds. There's an opportunity for Franklin there to maybe be a future #1 target for Bo Nix. Javon Baker, same thing, man. He's a really good player. The Patriots took him in the fourth round, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's the #1 or #2 target for Drake May this year either. And Devontae Walker, he's kind of a Rashad Bateman insurance. He's going to operate as their #4, #3 receiver this year. He could grow in that role. Jalen McMillan, he's going to compete for the #3 receiver duties in Tampa Bay. Once Mike Evans leaves, maybe McMillan can grow in his role. Good draft capital with all these guys, mid to early round 3. And then Luke McCaffrey, slot receiver for Jaden Daniels. That's, an exciting opportunity for Luke McCaffrey. We'll see if he can be something like his brother, or is it his younger brother, cousin, something like that. Moving into, I guess I threw Spencer Rattler in here at the end of tier 7 because, hey, Derek Carr, man, he's been battered with injuries the last few years. There might be a chance for Spencer Rattler to get some play time this year. And hey, if he looks good, he looks good. Up next, I have a huge tier 8 of running backs. Kamani Vidal excites me the most of these guys because I think he could actually beat Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins out. So if you want someone to stash that has potential to excite you this year, it's Vidal. Ray Davis for Buffalo, he's going to operate as the #2 behind James Cook. He's probably going to be the short yardage banger kind of back. Garendo has a chance to be the #2 behind McCaffrey. We love his speed. He's a good fit in that Shanahan zone offense. Will Shipley has a chance to be the #2 running back behind Saquon Barkley. Audric Estime, he's going to operate in that Mark Ingram big back role for Denver and give Javonte Williams a breather. Rasheen Ali, man, he's going to be the #2 running back right away for Derrick Henry. You got Keaton Mitchell coming back from an injury. Rasheen Ali could be exciting. And then Tyrone Tracy, man, I didn't love the fit with the Giants, but it makes a lot of sense. Brian Dable with a passing down back. I think it could be an exciting pick. And who knows, he might be able to overtake Devin Singletary as a receiving back year 1. Don't sleep on Tyrone Tracy. Bucky Irving's interesting. He's going to come in and compete for the #2 duties behind Rashad White. And then Braylon Allen, man, he's going to come in and be the banger back behind Breece Hall. Tier number 9, Jatavian Sanders didn't get the draft capital we wanted, but I love the landing spot. He could be Bryce Young's future #1 tight end. He's worth a pull late here in late 3rd, early 4th round. Theo Johnson could be the future starting tight end for the Giants. Cade Stover could learn from Dalton Schultz and be the guy for CJ Stroud in a year or 2. So I don't mind taking pulls on those guys. And then some deep receivers here. Jacob Cowing, Aeneas Smith could be the #3 target for Philly. Jacob Cowing could move up the depth chart if we do move Debo or Ayuk. I think Malik Washington's got the inside track to be the future slot receiver for Tua. Johnny Wilson, just another big-bodied receiver here. We'll see if he works out with Philly. Keelan Robinson's going to compete with the #2 duties for Jacksonville and Tank Bigsby. Isaiah Davis will be – I didn't understand that. The Jets took Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. We'll see how it works out. Dylan Lobby could be the receiving back behind Zamir White. Jawar Jordan, interesting. Not a lot of depth chart there behind Joe Mixon. You got Dameon Pierce there. We'll watch for Jawar Jordan in the summer. I'm watching these tight ends here. Eric All for Cincinnati. Tip Ryman. He's kind of behind Trey McBride, so I'm not super excited about that. Keep an eye on Jared Wiley, though. He could compete for Travis Kelce replacement duties. Another tight end by the Cardinals here, Tanner McLaughlin. Jaheim Bell could be the future tight end for Drake May. I think I probably should move him up, actually. I like his opportunity. And then some receivers here, Ryan Flournoy and Taj Washington. But there you go. That's it. That's the Dynasty rankings. And hey, it's May 2nd. I'm probably going to put I'll put another video out maybe early June. I'll probably do one of these updates each month going forward. And you guys can check out my Dynasty rankings. Again, it's $10 a month. You guys can check it out. And hey, if you want to reach out and get a little promo code, I can maybe knock off $2 or $3 for you guys for a month here. So either way, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Peace.